Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen then. There it is. I knew I'd find it someplace. I'm more of a Teams person, not a Zoom person here. Let's see. I think that would work. Um, can you confirm you can see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what we wanted to do is take a few minutes and explain what our upcoming supply chain technology certification program. So I want to do a little introduction. Alejandra, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to meeting you.
Yeah, so what we want to do is give a little bit of background about what the certificate program is on supply chain technology and share with how we're going to work through this for the next, well, it's a month, but it's through the month of October, basically. But a little bit about myself. My name is Rodnye DuBois. I currently hold a CPIM. In my real job, I'm a director of supply chain for advanced applications for a company called Adient. We work in the automotive industry. Been with them for about 24 years. And I'm also a business owner. I just opened an LLC, something called Southwestern Trails. We're doing some trail maps here locally in the area. And in the past, I've worked for Electrolux and General Motors. I've been in material, supply chain, operations, plant management, design, kind of been around the block, but supply chain is always where I end up at. I enjoy supply chain. I love working with supply chain. And I've held my CPIM certification for more than 20 years now. Actually, when I took the CPIM certification, it was, I think we had to pass 6 of 7 tests or 5 of 6, something like that. Now it's one test that you have to pass all in one shot, but previously it was multiple exams to obtain your certification. Fluent in Spanish also. So yeah, I spent a lot of time working in Mexico, so pretty fluent in Spanish, although the course itself here, I know we have 4 people registered for our upcoming classes, and we will be doing it in English because a lot of the terminology and not to mention the course is set up in English. So, but if we don't have anybody else that joins us and everybody speaks Spanish, we can jump back and forth if we have to make sure that everybody's comfortable with the content that we're looking at. That's my cell phone there if anybody ever wants to reach out to me, and my email address. So what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about what the course is. There are 6 modules. The first one is blockchain. And I'll go through some of the objectives for blockchain. Our idea of how we're doing this is the students that register for this course, they receive the online courseware. They're going to need to do some pre-studying before we meet on 2 Saturdays. Our plan is to meet 2 Saturdays during the month of October, and for 6 hours each day. And then during those Saturday sessions, we're going to review, for instance, in the first Saturday, we're going to review blockchain, advanced analytics and automation, and Internet of Things. And then it depends on how we're moving. You know, we'll break probably at the end of session 3. We might get into cybersecurity. Just depends how many questions we have going on. But the idea is that each student starts working through the online portion. And then the second Saturday, we'll go through the cybersecurity, demand planning technologies, and additive manufacturing, or also 3D printing. With this, what we want to do as a group is we want to get together with the students and help them understand anything that's not clear. So, for instance, if somebody doesn't understand blockchain, they work through the online study material, and maybe they're struggling. So we'll look up some real life examples if we need to, and we'll try to work through that and make sure that each student can get through the quizzes and, well, ultimately the the exam to obtain their certificate, right? So if you look at those, the first module is blockchain. Now, I don't know if anybody knows much about blockchain at all. I'll be honest, I had to learn a lot when I went through this certificate because I've never used blockchain myself. So I had to learn a lot. I had to go out and do a lot of studying to understand it. But the objectives of the course is to help us define those blockchain technology and discuss how it works. So when you think about blockchain, most people are thinking about like cryptocurrency, right? That's where a lot of blockchain gets used at. So that's more common knowledge for most of us. But we're going to talk about how you can also use a public blockchain, private blockchains, and talk about some of the benefits and the drawbacks of blockchain technology. As any system or any process, there's always the pros and the cons, right? So we're going to talk about some of those, work through them. And then we also want to talk about identifying factors to consider when implementing blockchain technology. Of course, one of the big things is making sure that whoever's working on the project understands blockchain, right? It is a little bit complex to get started and then, to make it work. And then how it can be used in supply chain. So blockchain in supply chains, one of the big things that they're using for in supply chains is looking at where materials manufactured. A lot of times now we have a lot of rules around where we can buy our materials from, our raw materials. So some companies have, or even governments have restrictions that you can't buy material from a certain country, or you can't buy material that's manufactured with child labor. So one of the ideas of blockchain is that you can manage that material all the way through the supply chain and no one can edit the records. So they can prove where the material came from. So that's one of the opportunities that we can look at. And then another thing that we can also look at, with the next module we're going to look at would be advanced analytics and automation. So what are we going to talk about here? We're going to talk about comparing and contrast to descriptive, diagnostics, predictive, prescriptive, and conjunctive analytics. Data mining. I don't know if in your current jobs, maybe, you do data mining. I do data mining all day long. And matter of fact, the last 2 days I've spent in a spreadsheet that just about crashes my Excel, trying to sort through some data to clean it up through about 40 plants throughout North America, trying to get that data clean so we can use it for a project we're working on. So, we're going to talk about data mining, how you can do that besides just using Excel, what other systems you might be able to use. And then we're going to talk about where you can store data. A lot of us know, obviously, you can store data on your computer. You can store data in a cloud. You have clouds that are private clouds. Maybe your company has their own cloud service, or they're, contracting. A lot of us use Microsoft 365, but it's a cloud that's restricted to just your company, right? Not openly out there. Or maybe you have your own personal cloud services. Maybe you're using Google Docs, or there's also places you can store data called data lakes, data warehouses. We're going to talk about those and understand what they are. And then we're going to start talking about AI, artificial intelligence. So many of us know what ChatGPT is, right? That's just the entrance to AI. What it can do. We're going to talk about machine learning and how these things can help us in supply chain. And we're just barely entering the world of using AI for supply chain. I mean, a lot of us might be using, Copilot, and a lot of us use Microsoft. So maybe we're using Copilot, or maybe we're using ChatGPT to do a few things. But in all honesty, there's a lot more out there, right? A lot of companies right now are pushing their abilities to make your life easier by using AI. But we can talk about some of those examples. And then we're going to list some of the skill sets that employees might need to work with advanced analytics and automation. And during this, the whole idea is as we go through it, each one of us is going to learn a little bit more, and we're going to be able to get to that point where we can get our certification through this process. In the third module is the Internet of Things. Not sure if anybody knows what the Internet of Things are, but I'll give you an example. Internet of Things are just things connected to the internet. For instance, if you have a smartwatch and it's registering your heart rate, right? If you have a Garmin or an Apple Watch, maybe it's registering your heart rate and it's sending it to your account. So you can check later how your heart rate was during the day or how many steps you stepped during the day off of your watch. Or your cars are now connected to the internet. Sometimes they're getting updates to their software directly through the internet. So there's lots of things that are connected. We're going to talk about all those and how those technologies can actually help us in supply chain. You've probably seen the commercials for some of the refrigerators now that will tell you when you're out of milk, right? Yeah, it can happen, right? We can do things like that. So how can we use those in manufacturing? How can we use those things in our supply chain to make our life easier, right? That's what we're going to talk about. So here's some of the topics we're going to look at. We're going to talk about what they are, how they're evolved, how we can use them. We're going to talk about the benefits of track and trace technology. What kind of technology is needed to capture that data, transmit it, and access the Internet of Things. What infrastructure might be needed, okay? How you can incorporate it into your ERP system. And then we're going to talk about a digital twin. What is a digital twin? A digital twin, just to give you a quick snapshot, is maybe you have a physical a car, and let's just say the radio in that car. Instead of having another radio physically, you have a digital twin, which is basically everything in the computer with all the sensors attached to it to make it believe it's a real computer, a real radio. And then you can do testing on it. You can see what happens if you change this and if you change that, what would actually happen. And then we're going to talk about more applications for manufacturing and retail, and some of the challenges and possible actions to avoid these risks. So the Internet of Things. Think about your smartwatches, your refrigerators, your TVs, everything's connected to the internet nowadays. I just had a new refrigerator and stove and microwave installed in the house. All three of them are attached to the internet. And I get notices on my phone if somebody leaves the door open, if somebody, if the oven is done cooking, it will tell me. If the microwave is done, my phone will beep and tell me the microwave is done. So these are all types of Internet of Things, but we're going to see how we can potentially incorporate that into the supply chain. Then we're going to talk about cybersecurity. So I'm sure we've all heard, seen companies have major issues because of their cybersecurity. You know, they've been attacked, right? Maybe they lost all of their networking ability for a day or two, why they had to pay a ransomware, or maybe they had to, you know, buy new computers because they couldn't get their computer systems working anymore. So we're going to talk about how cybersecurity actually interacts with our supply chain, and what we can potentially do to make sure that our systems are secured. We're going to talk about what's required for training. We're going to talk about who should be controlling our cybersecurity in the company. We're going to look at some of the tools and the risk assessments, right? So how much cybersecurity do you want to install in your company, right? Millions of dollars, or, you know, a $200 software package. It all depends on the size of your company and what you're looking for, right? And then we're going to go and we're going to talk about, you know, some of the firewalls, anti-hacking technology, and why education is important. I can tell you the biggest and best way to control and make sure you don't get you're not hacked either through your computer or through your phone, is to be very vigilant with what you're looking at. So be careful with what you click on. I mean, that's one of the simplest things. If you're not sure who sent you that email, don't open the attachments. So we're going to talk about those and how that can help us with cybersecurity. And then we're going to talk about demand planning technologies. So we're going to explain demand planning and the importance of the demand planning technology in supply chain. Many of us use our ERP system. Many of us use something called Excel. You know, it's always been my pet peeve. We use Excel and we have a multi-million-dollar ERP system. But we're going to talk about some of the ways, some of the other technologies we can use, how we can do forecasting demand and with what systems we can use, and how important they are for future the demand planning using technology. So you can even go out and use some AI tools to help us plan the future. As long as you give it enough data, you can come up with some good forecasts. Okay, and then we're going to talk about why forecasting errors are important, what we're going to do with those, and then the role of demand planning and inventory management. The last session we're going to talk about on our second Saturday is going to be the additive manufacturing or 3D printing. So 3D printing if you're in the manufacturing world, even if you're not in the manufacturing world, you've probably seen a 3D printer someplace if you haven't seen it in person, you've probably seen it on YouTube or someplace. But 3D printing is becoming very popular. One of the reasons it's becoming popular is because it's very fast turnaround. You can print something 3D for a prototype part instead of waiting for it to be milled and manufactured and cut or prototype tooling to be made so you can produce 2 or 3 parts, right? So 3D printing is coming along great. Some people have 3D printers in their house. Some people can outsource the 3D printing. They have them in their offices. 3D printing, you can print small little knickknacks, little plastic things, all the way up to there's 3D printers now that will pour the concrete for houses. So, you know, there are 3D printers for just about everything and just about every type of material. They're using them in the healthcare. So we're going to talk about that and how that can help us in technology for supply chain. So that's kind of the objectives that we're going to review over the 2 Saturdays. What I would like to do is show you all the tool. Let me see here. So on the tool itself, and I'll go over to the tool in a minute, if you decide to join us for this technology certificate, and I know a few people on the phone are actually already enrolled, but I believe there's a couple other that are just here listening in to see if they would like to enroll. The way it works is there's 6 modules. You'll log in, you have unlimited access to the tool itself, but there are various quizzes. So after each topic, you're going to get some quizzes, 3 to 4 questions, and those quizzes are going to be, you know, you're going to multiple choice. If you've never taken an ASCM or an old Apex quiz or certification, typically they're multiple choice or true or false. So you're going to go through those quizzes and you're going to answer them. The quizzes themselves, as soon as you answer them, it's going to tell you if you pass each question. So as you answer question 1, it's going to tell you if you got it correct as soon as you hit submit. And if you did or did not get it correct, it's going to give you a little bit more information about what the correct answer is. You have to get a passing test, a passing score, right? So if there's 4, it depends on the topic, but typically it's, you know, you have to get 3 of the 4. If it's 3, I think you had to get all 3 of them correct, or some of them you had to get 2 correct. But you get the opportunity just to reset yourself and take them again right away if you'd like to, or it'll also give you the link to go back to the topic itself and do a little bit more reading and studying. And as you're going through the online tool, some of it is reading, some of it is going to be videos. There's quite a few videos in the online tool. But then at the end of each one of the 6 modules, you also get a performance check, which I believe they were all 10 questions, if I'm not mistaken. As you went through those they will not, they actually will tell you if you got the answer correct. And the same thing, at the end of the performance check, you can click back and decide whether or not you would like to study more or go ahead and retake the test, right? Then after you get through all 6 modules and you've taken all the quizzes and all the performance check, then you'll get to what they have as the 78 question test. And this is how you finish the certification. And the certification, when you take those 78 questions, this time it will not tell you if you got them correct or wrong. It's like a typical ASCM test. You'll be taking on your computer. It will allow you to skip questions and then go back to them. It's untimed, by the way. There was no time limit. You probably just want to make sure you don't get logged out, right? You probably don't want to wait for hours to finish it. It might log you out. But as you go through it, you can skip questions or flag them to come back to them. At the end, once you are sure you're comfortable with your 78 questions, you hit submit. It'll give you the results. It'll tell you which ones you got right, which ones you got wrong. On the ones you got wrong, you can click on them and it'll tell you, what the correct answer was, and it'll also give you references back to where you can learn a little bit more or go back and restudy. One thing I noticed when I was doing this, I did try to go through the certification on my iPhone. Did not work very well. I had to use my laptop. The iPhone, it was a little, yeah, I wasn't comfortable with it on my iPhone. When I tried to scroll, it didn't seem to work. So just something to think about. I'm not sure about other kind of phones, but my iPhone didn't work very well. So what I'd like to do is let me flip this over real quick and share the actual tool itself. As soon as I find the right button. Share, and let's see, here is the tool. Should be this tool, yes. Okay, so I'm hoping you can see my screen. So this is the tool after you log in. You'll log in through your ASCM account. And as you get in, you'll see here, this is a 20-hour course, and it does take probably 20 hours to get through. So definitely, if you're joining us for the course itself, you're going to want to plan your days to make sure you get through the online portion for those modules before we get to the Saturday, because I really want to have an interactive Saturday, meaning that you come with questions. We can discuss, things that you didn't understand. And if there's things you did understand, then what I'd like to do is, maybe even just highlight those and keep on going. And we'll focus on the ones that the students didn't really understand. That way we can focus a little bit more, and we can even go out and, do a little bit more research if we need to make sure it's comfortable. So I'm going to click here. Hopefully this is going to work for me. Once I get into the tool itself, you can see over here, I've got the 6 modules, the exam. So under each module, you'll basically be able to click on a module. You can go through it. What I would recommend is obviously you go through it in order. Now, I will give you heads up. Blockchain is the first module, and it was also the module that, for myself, was probably the hardest and the most boring module. Everything else I loved. Blockchain, I wasn't really over excited about blockchain itself. So that for me was just a little bit tough to get through, but I got through it. So don't get discouraged if you're going through blockchain, and if you happen to be like me and you didn't really find it too interesting. As soon as you get through it, the other modules are great. You'll be great. I mean, the problem with blockchain is it just didn't interest me. So you can go through here and click on this. I'm not going to restart my activity. Well, yeah, well, why not? I'm going to restart my activity here. So if it opens up, there it is. So I'm going to hit start course. And then within here, you can see we have all of the overview, a lot of reading, and then you'll go through the learning objectives. And then you're going to go into all the information about blockchain itself. And as you work your way through this, you're going to find that there's going to be a practice test after you get through or a few questions, the quizzes that I was mentioning, 3 to 4 questions on most of them. And you'll find yourself going through this, and that's where you have the opportunity to decide whether or not there's any questions you have. And then what we would like to do, any questions so far? I see we had a couple other people join us.
Probably it is good to remember that during the study, you will find some of those rectangles with definitions, and it will be useful if you get the app of the ACCM dictionary, so you can scroll, find some term, keep in your notes what are those definitions, that it will help you so much during your study tool, during your study time. Mhm.
That's a very good point, Deanna. Thank you. Deanna, if they signed up for the course, are they automatically members? Are they becoming members, or did they have the option?
Yes, the students already are members.
Okay,
And for
perfect.
all of the invited that we have this session, the Apex Dictionary is open to all.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very good point to have that
Mhm.
app downloaded and available, because there are some terminologies, especially if you're taking the certification as a second language, right? So, and that's one reason why we're going to do the class in English. Although I believe the 4 people that are enrolled are all from Mexico. We can work through some Spanglish in the class if we need to, but all the terminology is in English. So we're going to want to work through as much as we can in English, just to make sure that you have no questions with the terminology. Now, the class schedule itself, we currently have it set for Saturday the 4th and the 25th of October from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. At our offices on 3 Butterfield Trail. That's in El Paso. It's kind of behind the airport, the El Paso airport. The idea is there that you park on the east side of the building. The door in the center of the building will be unlocked. You can go in there, and as soon as you get to about the center of the building, it's not that big of a building. As soon as you get to the center, you turn right, and then our door is on the right side there, and you'll see us there. We can hold about, I think we can hold about probably 10 or 12 people in that classroom comfortably. And yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. So now, if anyone has any questions, I'd love to hear from them. I see Yvette and Berenice has joined us also. The people, the students that we already have enrolled, Deanna, are these some of them that are on the phone with us? You're on mute, Deanna. I hear you. I see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Ay, no. It is Alejandra Lugo, Berenice Mendoza, Yvette Torres, and Aleida is with one of them.
Okay,
There
perfect.
are 4 students, 4 ladies.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. And then let me slide back up here. If you would like to grab my cell phone number and my email address, feel free to grab those. And I guess, is there any questions, or Deanna, anything else you can think of that might be beneficial for the team here? So the four students, you guys all have access to the tool already, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
The 4 of
yes.
them.
Okay. And have you logged in and started studying yet? Okay, I'm just going to have to keep sending you guys notes. I'm going to get your guys' email addresses from Deanna, and I'm going to start bugging you. So, no fears. Even before the class starts, if you guys have questions or problems, feel free to send me a WhatsApp or text me, call me on my cell phone number, or shoot me an email. Our goal is to help you get through this and make sure at the end of the day you can pass the certificate program. So you can get this nice little icon over here, which
Bandage.
says supply chain, the banner here,
The bandage.
logo. says Technology Certificate. Our goal is to help you that and also to help you understand some of the things that you can learn. And I believe all 4 of our students are from Eton, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, they already have the access. They already served the first part, and your explanation was so detailed. The system, it is so intuitive, so you can scroll, get on the videos, the transcript of those videos, all of the definitions. It will be in a good way for your understanding and your study time.
Yeah, so expect that you're probably going to need to spend at least about 10 hours going
Before.
through the first 3 modules before the 4th of October. So don't wait until the last day. You won't make it. And then we'll be in the class. I mean, we're going to go through everything we can. And in class, we have PowerPoint slides that we're going to go through. So we're going to work through it as a team. But I really would like to see that you guys have already gone through it, because I really want to focus on what wasn't clear more than just learning everything. Okay.
Yes.
And Alejandro, if you want to join us, hopefully you'll join us.
Thank you.
Okay. And Deanna can help you with that if you decide you want to join us. And Deanna, I believe you recorded this. I don't know if you can send this
Yes.
to anybody or not, but
Yes.
I believe some of the participants might have joined a little bit late, so they might want to go back and look at that. Okay.
Yes, we will update the record and to share with other persons.
Okay.
So nice.
And la verdad, no se preocupen, podemos hacerlo en español, pero la terminology es el que vamos a batallar poquito más. Okay. So I
Okay.
hope you guys have a great afternoon and great weekend. And I look forward to meeting everyone on the 4th at the latest. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you to
Okay.
all. Have a
Bye-bye.
good weekend.
You
A
too.
reading
Bye.
time.